Hey everyone, it's tiredg0th. Okay, so I was in the middle of uploading part one of the video that I just posted part two of, not realizing that because there was a storage issue on my device, which could be indicative of like someone needing to make room for something in their life so that their blessing can come in, right? So they can fully enjoy it. The video uploaded about 95% and then I deleted it thinking it was already uploaded, so the upload crashed. I don't have the part one of that video, but it was very in-depth and it discussed some pretty pertinent points. Like at one point I had pulled two cards and it was pertaining to like a lover situation. There's some sort of lover's quarrel between a divine couple. They might be twin flames. And there's something about like the person having been like one person in the relationship had been unfaithful, thinking that it was like a retaliatory thing that they were supposed to be doing to someone that never cheated on them. Okay. There was some issue regarding infidelity, which was being healed. And then there was an issue here with like proactive measures that could be used to like fix the situation for them. So it was sort of like there was love in the reading, there was like acceptance, there was an attempt to fix something, but in the relationship as it is now, there was also an issue of like space, right? Back to the storage thing, to the space issue. There was one specific card that I pulled pertaining to the solution of what they were going through, and if this resonates for you, this might be your video. Flying too close to the sun was the comparison made here between like, Icarus and Daedalus, those two characters in Greek mythology who invented wax wings and like, you know, used it to fly into the sky, right? They literally like attached these inventions that they put together out of feathers from birds and wax that they collected off of the beach and like melted together to then solidify it by cooling the wax and holding everything in place. But when they flew into the sky using these inventions and like testing them, they flew a little too high, and the heat from where that sun was touching between like the sky and the sea somehow melted the wax and like, destroyed the feather's ability to stay in place. And like Icarus, the one who flew too high to that heat, sun, fell into the sea and drowned. And I intuited that like the energy around this relationship as it's healing is also very stifled by the emotional involvement of the people there. It's sort of like there's too much assuming and not enough communication pertaining to like the needs, the requisites for things to work. So it's like there are assumptions that everything's just going to snap back into normal, that everything is going to remain stable no matter how the proverbial temperature of the relationship changes. Now, in any relationship, there's going to be like a comfort level that people leave, right? But what aids this to make a good transition is communication, right? It's asking questions. It's tempering the situation by saying, "Okay, is this still okay? Is this still working for you? How do you feel about this?" It's like being real. You know what I mean? It's being real about the situation in a sense where you're acknowledging that you're not the only person with feelings in that relationship. And it's sort of like, kind of like to keep a healthy dynamic in anything, you kind of want to check in once in a while and do a vibe check and be like, is this still cool for you? Do you feel okay with this? Do you feel like this today? It's sort of like just not assuming that someone is going to be okay with every single thing that you do, because while you're lovable, you're still a human with flaws, and it's sort of like they are too. So sometimes just communicating and checking in, and especially if like you've never done something before, or even if you have done something before, if things are healing, that's a progressive kind of thing. That doesn't just happen overnight. like it's sort of like, okay, if you have stitches, have you ever had stitches? If you've ever had stitches, you don't just put the stitches in after you get a deep wound and stop changing your bandages, or stop putting ointment on it, or stop checking to see if the stitches are pulling after it starts to heal a little bit. You don't just go bang on into your next adventure with stitches still in your body. You know what I mean? Because it's like you could still tear the wound open. And there was something about this specific message and this dynamic between the two where it's like there's just one person in the dynamic that's like trying to overshadow the other person's presence with assumptions, and it's hurting this person a lot. It's actually like making them not want to be involved with this person anymore, because it's like it's literally like the person's just like, hey, remember that one time that you and I were scuffling and I beat the shit out of you and you fell off of equipment and like really got hurt and you had to go to the hospital, but then you came back and it was really cool. Hey, how's it going? And they just like sock the person directly in the wound that they're in the progress of healing. Right? Now, if this isn't being done on purpose, this person needs to realize that they're hurting the person. If it is being done on purpose, they need to separate. Like that's my judgment call. They need to separate, because like if one person doesn't want to acknowledge that everything that they're doing is causing a lot of pain for this person, and that this person doesn't deserve it if they really are the love of their life, like they don't belong together. They just don't. There's no fixing that. This person would literally have to go through another loss, and maybe another one, and another one, and another one, to actually understand that the pain that they're causing this person is going to transitively reflect back on them. And like this is yeah, I just intuited the word spell work. There are some people who engage in these relationships on purpose to step into that person's spot emotionally, psychologically. Like it's a takeover. It's an assumed identity. Like I control your mind now because I abused you. So that if that's the tune and the tone of the relationship, it has to stop. It has to go. It has to leave. They have to part. Even if they're twin flames, who cares? You're not supposed to go through a relationship that psychologically hinders your ability to think for yourself based on what somebody else thinks is obedience to them for your benefit, because that's grooming. And in a relationship, you're not supposed to be dating your dad or your mom. You're supposed to be dating someone with equal respect to an upright family figure who would guide you, who would nourish you, who would do their best for you. But like, even your parents, no matter how much they loved you, if you started like ruining everything in their home, they would forgive you, but they'd be like, listen, I'm your parent and I don't want you going into the world with my DNA acting like this. We're a unit. We all represent each other. You got to do something about this, right? But like eventually they might find ways to handle how fed up they are by encouraging you to take more responsibility for your own behavior, right? But in a relationship, there's a huge difference here. While there's the same kind of love and affection and like continuous and eternal forgiveness in a real, solid, loyal relationship, it can be broken without responsibility by the person who's being attacked this way, saying, you know what? Loving you is forcing me to need to love myself more because you're hurting me. And that's what causes breakups. Because there's an incompatibility emotionally, sentiently. Like there's just something wrong. So I don't know who needs to hear this information, but that was where the entire reading, like all the cards that I pulled and everything, led up to. It led up to a solution saying like, don't fly too close to the sun with your assumptions of what makes a person happy with your behavior. Check in, ask questions, communicate. How do you feel about this? Do you still like this? Are we like, not are we okay? Because I feel like if you're at that point, you know, if you're asking that question, you really feel like you have to, you're probably not okay in that relationship. But if there's a situation here where a person is like too sure of what a person is going to like without even asking, they're not doing it right. And I don't know who needs to hear that, but like if you're healing from a wound where something like that was done to you, you need to fix that because it's damaging a lot of things that are supposed to be in a better place for you right now. Like literally, I'm hearing like the divine plan was for you to heal that, but if you're not acknowledging that that's work you have to do every single day to improve, and you slide back and you cause a person who really loves you to distance themselves from you because like you're assuming that everything that you do is something they're going to go along with. It's going to cause them to look at you like how could you assume that I don't have my own will and testament? How could you assume that I don't need to be honored with a question? Because that's what their feelings are. That's what I'm getting from this. It's like, if you've ever seen a candle that actually has two wicks, right? And one of them starts burning higher than the other one, and the other one burns low, but like the wicks join, at one point. Supposing it's a shared energy and not just like, two strings that are burning respectively, like properly the way that they do separately. When you have a shared energy or a shared soul, it's sort of like the more one tries to assume the entire identity, the other one shrinks. The other one feels forced to shrink to remain in the energy. And like when it comes to twin flames, like the whole concept is balancing the two energies, the two things. But if a balance can't be struck, it's like there's no reason they have to be stuck together. There's no assumption there that the twin flame journey even has to continue there. And that's the heartbreaking part, because like twin flame journeys are so sacred, but at the same time, if the person inside of that relationship is abusing it for gains, to assume like the most energy out of that relationship to leave the other person to dwindle into nothing, like that's not a relationship. That's not a relationship. That's not a journey. That's literally a soul death. That's an evaporation. So they don't belong together if that's all that the dynamic is going to be. And I feel like that might have clarified something for someone. That might have helped. So I hope that helps. I'll try to pull more cards about it later. Going on with my hair. Oh, this hair sucks, Sorry, guys. All right. Thank you for tuning in. Sorry for the awkward upload thing. I genuinely uploaded like a whole 20-minute video and it's gone. So whatever. I guess this is the root of the story. So thanks so much for tuning in, and I'll catch you guys later. Thanks. Bye.